I'm going to take the Sakura 5, BB, and related Sakura faces and turning them into Yuigoh cards based off of everything we know about their characters and translating that into a deck. So starting with the normal and effect monsters, we have Alter Ego King Protea Inner, who is a level 4 Cyverse monster. Her effect reads, this card can be special summoned when you have no monsters on your side of the field. This card must be played in defense position, it cannot attack, and when this card is used for an XYZ summon with another alter ego, its level becomes 6. My thought process for this was that because this version of her does not fight in any story, she's here as an easy to get out wall, while also being built to help you get out other King Proteas much easier. Moon Cell Assistant Sakura, a level 2 light monster Cyverse tuner. When your opponent targets your monsters with an effect, you can negate them, and when this card is sent to the graveyard, search a Moon Cancer BB from your deck to your hand. Because she is a nurse and effects can be seen as an irregularity in this scenario, she's essentially healing that. Moon Cancer BB, a level 7 dark Cyverse effect monster. Once per turn, when attacked, flip your opponent's attacking monster from attack position to defense. Meanwhile, on your battle phase, this card can target one of your opponent's monsters and have both their attack and defense reduced by 500 for level 5 or lower monsters, and by 1000 for level 6 and higher for the rest of the battle phase. Because BB is portrayed as this in control final boss type character, as well as essentially being the ace for the normal monsters, I decided to give her a more controlling effect that make her useful on either player's turn. Alter Ego Material Morion, a level 3 Wind Fairy effect monster. This card gains 300 attack and defense every turn. Once per turn, you can give 300 attack and defense to one of your monsters. If in the hand, when your opponent attacks, you can take 0 damage by sending this card to the graveyard and search an Alter Ego Cards drop from your deck to your hand. The idea for this came from the fact that Morion is designed to look like Cards Drop herself. It's also one of the material which were used by BB to create Cards Drop. In terms of her ability, it's based off of her lore, where Morion can grant wishes, but the more she does, the smaller she gets. In this case, by giving attack points, she needs something to give, and thus will always have something to give as long as she is on the field. Alter Ego Material Parvati is a level 4 light spellcaster effect monster who, when used to special or tribute summon, counts as 3 monsters. The idea behind this is that when she uses her Noble Phantasm, she summons 2 copies of herself to summon forth lightning, which will be important for the next monster I bring up, which is Alter Ego Material Durga, who was a level 12 Fire Pyro effect monster, whose summon condition is you must use a Parvati and banish it from your hand. When this card destroys one of your opponent's monsters, it can attack again, and it does damage equal to half of that destroyed monster's attack directly to your opponent, which counts for both attacks, by the way. The idea behind this is Durga is linked to Parvati, and Durga is just very strong overall, so I thought she should feel that way in battle. Alter Ego BB Lily, a level 2 Wind Cyverse tuner. When this card is on the field, its name becomes Alter Ego Cards Drop or BB. When this card is destroyed, search a bug space or Moon Cell Automaton field spell from your deck to your hand. I chose to make this a separate card because in the Night Summer event, she first appears under the name of BB Lily, and thus regarding her effect, it allows her to easily be used as material to special summon any card that requires a Kazura drop or a BB, as well as getting a field spell as a bonus if they think this card is an easy target to go after. Alter Ego Kazura drop, a level 3 Wind Cyberse tuner. This card gains 500 attack and defense for every alter ego or BB on the field, not including itself. If this card is targeted, you can send one alter ego or BB from the field to your graveyard instead. So because Kazura isn't supposed to be a fighter and can only beat one under special circumstances, this card will get stronger when those of its own kind are on the field, similar to her circumstance in Foxtails, which have her power set based solely around BB and the Sakura Five. And thus, because she ends up having so much control, she could use one of them as her pawns to avoid destruction. It also gives her some protection if she seems like an easy target. Alter Ego Passion Lip, level 4 Earth Cyberse effect monster. When this card's on the field, all monster, spell, and trap effects must target it. Once per turn, this card can destroy any card on your opponent's side of the field. The idea behind this is her Trash and Crash ability, aka her cheat skill, which makes it so that no matter how strong or large the opponent, she can easily take them down. And because her whole thing is she is a masochist who makes people want to bully her, she becomes the center of attention. Alter Ego Meltrillis, or Mel Lilith if you prefer, who is a level 6 water monster, who is a sea serpent Cyberse effect monster, whose effect is by selecting a monster that either per effect states, by selecting a monster on either player's side of the field, take half of its attack and defense and add it to this card until the owner's next turn. This can be used once per turn. Simply put, is her Melt Virus in play, which for those who don't know, allows her to sap the strength of others to make herself stronger. Alter Ego Violet, who is a level 8 Earth monster, who is a Serpent Cyberse effect card, whose effect states, by targeting a monster on your opponent's side of the field, you can stop it from activating its effects until your opponent's next turn. This is based off of her ability called Cracked Ice, which is a cheat skill that lets her freeze the space within her vision, as well as anyone or anything inside of it. And then we have Sentinel BBB, who is an Earth level 9 machine Cyberse monster. Their effect is this card can only be special summoned with the inclusion of one Alter Ego Passion Lip. When this card is on the field, all your opponent's monsters must target its attack in battle. Now most people probably wouldn't know about this, but in Fate Extra Triple C, BBB was destroyed by Passion Lip. That's why I made the summoning condition include her. But on top of that, because she was a scrapped concept who was supposed to be this obstacle that hindered you throughout the Sakura Labyrinth, unavoidable to a certain extent, on the field this card itself becomes unavoidable and a strong wall for both offense and defense. Now we have the extra deck monsters, starting with Alter Ego King Protea Alter, who is a rank 6 Earth Cyberse Exceeds monster that requires one King Protea inner plus one or more level 6 monsters. When this card destroys a monster on your opponent's side of the field, they become overlay units. When this card uses an overlay unit, it gains 300 attack for each, and these can be used in multiples. Following that, we have her darker side, Alter Ego King Protea Alter, who is a rank 7 Dark Cyberse Exceeds that normally can be summoned with 2 or more level 7 monsters. When this card is special summoned using rank up magic along with a King Protea, all attack boosts are carried over to this card, and when it destroys one of your opponent's monsters, they become overlay units, while this card, for every overlay unit used, gains 500 attack, and they can be used in multiples. The general idea behind these two is King Protea only gets stronger. That's kind of her gimmick, and theoretically has infinite growth when it's not limited, and thus she basically has that here. And because Alter is a much less forgiving and what some might say would be a stronger version of her, Alter is just a better version of her, while also being very convenient because the growths don't reset, so you have more reason to want to use this version. Mysterious Alter Ego Lambda, who is a Link 3 Water Cyverse Link effect monster that normally requires 2 or more alter egos, so any monsters that this card points to lose 300 attack points every turn, and those attack points go to this card. And if they are monsters that you own, they cannot be targeted while this card is on the field. So the idea behind this card is it's basically just Melt, but she has more options due to link arrows, and while your own cards might be disadvantaged depending on your strategy, they're also offered protection as well, because even though Melt can be sadistic at times, she can also be nice and caring at others in her own way. Moving on to a BB, but not the one we're used to. Moon Cancer BB Dubai, who is a Link 4 Divine Cyverse Link monster who normally requires 2 or more alter ego cards plus 1 BB or 1 BB and link 1 or higher Cyverse monsters. Her effect is monsters this card points to will gain one of these effects during the battle phase. 1. They gain 300 attack for every monster that she's linked to, but their effects are negated. 2. They have their attack cut in half, but they can attack directly for the rest of the battle phase. And 3. They can't attack that turn, but become immune to all other card effects. My idea here is that because she is a celebrity who is way above everybody else, and thus has the spotlight always on her, others will benefit from her presence, but never truly outshine her. Alter Ego Passion Lip S, who is a Link 3 Earth monster, Cyverse Link. Her normal summoning conditions are 1 Passion Lip plus 2 or more Cyverse or Link 1 or higher monsters. Her effect is this card gains half of the attack of the monster that you control that it points to. Monsters your opponent controls that this card points to have to target this card, and if they have more attack points, then during battle they will be destroyed. Like I said before, with the other Passion Lip, she's basically the center of attention for reasons I have already explained, but just like Melt, I gave her more variety and options. And because she is the type that would try hard for those that she cares about, she gets a bonus of power from the monster on your side of the field. Moon Cancer BB Replica, or Second, whatever name I end up choosing to go with, who is a level 9 Dark Cyverse Synchro monster, whose conditions are 1 Motrilis plus 1 Kazo Drop. When a monster you own is attacked, this card can take the damage for it instead, essentially redirecting the damage. And if that monster's name is Kazo Drop, then this card will always be targeted instead. The reasoning behind this is that because of the nature of how this character is created, Melt and Kazura are a key part of their construction, and also shouldn't be hard to get a Kazura on the field. So all you have to worry about is the Melt part, which also shouldn't be too hard if you play right. But in terms of its effect, that is based off of the fact that this BB exists to hold all the power that Kazura has taken that she can't handle herself, taking the brunt of the burden. So from a generic perspective, they're a good shield, and even better one for Kazura specifically. Moon Cancer BB Cosmos, who is a level 9 Divine Cyverse Synchro monster, who normally require 1 BB and 1 tuner. Her effect state: when targeted by a monster or card effect, finish this card and send your opponent's card back to their hand or extra deck until the end of the turn. I base this off of what happens in Summer 9, where BB Dubai sends our BB far off into space, but she comes back as BB Cosmos. So she may be gone for a little bit, she'll always come back, while also being helpful when you might need her. Alter Ego Cadra Drop M. The M stands for Malice. I went through a couple names for her, such as Cadra Drop BB or Cadra Drop CCC. Regardless, she is a Link 3 Divine Cyberse Link monster who normally requires 1 Cadra Drop plus 2 Alter Ego monsters. The effect states that this card gains attack for all monsters it points to, equal to their attack points. And those monsters cannot attack, nor can they be destroyed while linked to this card. The idea behind this card, simply put, is that this version of her from Fox Tales has taken the power of BB and the other Sakuras and thus left them either useless, nerfed, or completely absorbed them, and thus they can't really do anything, which makes her a very selfish card in this case, but she at least gives the others some protection, which is why her attack points are question mark instead of a defined number to start with. Moon Cancer BB Pele, who is a rank 7 Dark Cyberse Exceeds monster, who needs a generic 2 or more level 7 monsters. The effect states, when a monster on your side of the field is destroyed, detach 1 overlay unit to return it to the field at the end of the turn, and if it's an Exceeds monster, any overlay units it has will go to this card. This way, under right circumstances, it can loop, but also this works based off of the fact that during the summer she appears in, there was a whole time loop that was happening over and over again until the main character and their servants could win a competition as number 1. Following her, we have Moon Cancer BB Thotep, aka BB plus Narlathotep, who is a rank 9 Dark Cyberse Exceeds, who would normally require 2 or more level 9 monsters. The effect states, when a monster on your side of the field would be destroyed by an effect, detach an overlay unit to stop said effect and then destroy that card. You can then draw 1 card from your deck. If it's a monster, it becomes an overlay unit for this card, and if it's a spell or trap, add it to your hand. I tried to make her a stronger version of BB Pele while also being a bit different. More so in this case, it works under the idea that because BB is always aware of what goes on during every time loop, by stopping the effect and also destroying the card, it's essentially her going through the next time loop, knowing what's going to happen and preventing it from happening, with her effect giving you a +1 or the ability to continue to loop this effect if you want. And with a sudden addition, we have Archetype Moon Golden BB, a divine level 12 Cyberse fusion effect monster that requires 2 BB monsters. Its effect states, it must first be special summoned from the extra deck by the card stated above. You do not need to use polymerization making the contact fusion, but you can also use polymerization, we'll get to that later. This card gains 500 attack points and defense for every BB or Alter Ego on the field or in your graveyard. Once per turn, you can destroy all monsters on your opponent's side of the field. If they have more monsters than you, then you can banish them regardless of their effects. If they have the same amount or less, then your opponent takes 500 damage, equals to the amount of monsters destroyed. The idea behind this is because the 2 BBs from Earth and the Moon fuse to become a temporary archetype of the Moon, I figured this card should not only require, 2 BBs, but also they should be powerful because archetypes themselves are very powerful, as the breath or representation of the planet in a physical form, in a sense making them kind of like a god in terms of how much power and influence they would actually have. I also think it just fits BB very well, considering the type of character both her and Dubai are. Now finally we are on to the spell and trap cards. Just so you know, when I was making these cards, when I tried to put in these symbols 4 different types of spells. They would overlap with the text, so I'll tell you what each spell card is if it's not a normal one, as well as it's seen in the text. First, we have Reprogram Future Overwrite, which is a normal spell that allows you to select a monster from your deck, send it to the graveyard, and apply that monster's level to one of yours that is currently on the field. The purpose for this is to easily get out one of your special summons if you don't have the right card in your hand or on the field to do so, assuming the monster cannot change its own level, which most in this deck would not be able to do normally. Sweet Devil's Slot. It is a trap card which during your opponent's battle phase, you can flip a coin, choose head or tails. If you win, your monsters gain 500 attack points and defense and negate your opponent's monster's effects until their next turn. But if you lose, all your monsters at the time of this card's activation will not be able to attack until your next turn. I know this sounds like a detriment to your deck and strategy, but I try to keep the spirit of the BB slot, and sometimes it just doesn't work for you and benefits your opponent. Next we have Accumulated Malice, which is a trap card. When a cause or drop is attacked by a BB or another alter ego monster, you can either reflect all the damage back at your opponent or reduce said opposing monster's attack to 0 and negate their effects as long as they are on the field. This is based off of the fact that Kazura in Foxtails is full of humanity's malice, which is why she's being very extreme, and thus she is reflecting that to utilize it against your opponent, assuming they're using similar cards, or if they have, for example, taken one of your cards. Make it so no matter which card or drop you have on the field, they can do nothing against her. We have the field spell Mooncell Automaton, which allows alter ego Cyverse type cards to return to your hand or extra deck when they would normally be sent to the graveyard. It's a simple spell card that gives them protection, and since they're all created on the Mooncell, you can see it as their home turf. Next we have another field spell called Ugg Space. When this card is played and a cause or drop isn't on the field, special summon it from your deck or hand to the field. But when there is a card with cause or drop in its name, all your opponent's monsters lose half of their attack and defense. Simply put, Bug Space is a move Kazura has, which gives them complete control over everything within that space, being able to make them completely weak, nerf their abilities that might be OP or hacks, as well as anything else that they want to do. BB Shot is a trap card that when activated from your hand, when a monster that you control is targeted by a card effect that doesn't destroy it, you can inflict those effects on one of your opponent's monsters instead. So because AI Sakura is a nursing AI, which BB is a backup of, this is basically just her taking away any illness and inject it back into one of your opponent's monsters. We have the equipped spell Dormina Chronom, which when equipped to a cause or drop M or BB, it allows them to negate your opponent's monster effects. Since this is one of BB and by extension Kazura's strongest moves, which gives them pretty much complete control, I think it only makes sense that your opponent won't be able to do anything against them. We have the trap card Master and Chocolate, which is based off of Summer BB's Bronze CE, which has disturbing implications. Its effect is when a BB Thotep or a BB Pele is on the field, you can activate this card and destroy all your opponent's monsters. So in the summer event that they appear in, they were able to do some terraforming with their power, and thus in this case I was thinking kind of like a Raigeki or any card that destroys all your opponent's monsters. This is basically just her putting them on the island and then destroying it, or I guess in this case from the image, eating it. Next we have another trap card, Golden Celeb Knight. When your opponent attacks, activate this card when a BB buy or a BB Cosmos is on the field, and they become immune to any battle damage, card, or monster effects. And if the attacking monster is stronger than either of the two, you will take 0 damage. On top of that, this card must be attacked for the rest of the battle phase by your opponent's monsters. So again, I went with the center of attention, where she basically becomes invincible, no matter how many monsters or how strong they may be. Next we have the equip spell, Don't Avert Your Eyes From Me. When equipped to Passion Lip, during the battle phase, when Passion Lip activates their effect, it will gain attack points equal to half of the attacking monster, as well as making Passion Lip unable to be destroyed for that turn. So this not only makes Passion Lip a good wall, but a nearly invincible one at that. In this case, I wanted to make her better at what she does, as opposed to doing more. Another ending is a normal trap card, which when your monster is targeted by one of your opponents, you can switch the target to another. This is essentially like changing fate or changing the outcome of a desperate situation, and assuming you have some of the walls on the field, assuming you don't have one of the monsters that already naturally does this type of thing already, it offers another layer of protection when needed. The equip spell, these are both arms so full of, is a card that can only be equipped to King Protea Inner. When it is, every turn you can look at the top card of your deck. If it's a monster level 4 or lower, you can summon it. If it's level 5 or higher, reshuffle your deck and then draw a card. And if it's equipped to one of the other King Proteas, that being normal or alter, then instead add that monster as an overlay unit to them. And in general, if it's a spell or trap card, add it to your hand. So this card, I figured, since King Protea is a character that's very big and thus you would think is full of a lot of love, it's trying to do a bit of everything. Be it give you more draw power, allowing you to get a +1, or if you think you need to reshuffle, you can get one of those too, as well as making one of the latter two stronger due to how their effects operate. Next is Rank Up Magic Calavera Mask. Its effect allows you to target one rank 6 Exceeds monster that you control and special summon from your extra deck one King Protea altar that you control using the target monster as Exceeds material. The special summon is treated as an Exceeds summon. XYZ material attached to that card also becomes XYZ material on the summon monster, which for King Protea, I already explained, had its own unique effect to pass on any attack bonuses. In this case, I figured since I was using alter, then I kind of like the idea of rank up magic. I think it just sounds cool also, that why not have the mask literally be its own thing and allow you to summon alter much easier in a way that seems more thematic based off of what does happen in Lost Belt 7. Rank up magic, last resort from the abyss. So the other one, target one rank 7 Exceeds monster, aka a BB, that you control, special summon from intersect 1 BB Thotep that you control using the target monster at Exceeds material, and basically it's the same thing for King Protea alter, just for BB Pele going into BB Thotep. Just another option to be able to get her out. And then we have Version Laser Palladion, which is a spell card that essentially allows piercing damage directly to your opponent's life points when you have an alter ego, Motrilis, and Passion Lip on the field. This one's pretty simple if you don't know. The two have an attack when they work together. It's pretty powerful. It shows up in Foxtails as well as Fate Grand Order. It's done some pretty crazy stuff, like be able to send Melt back in time. It seems like a very powerful attack just in general. So in this case, why not have it skip past monsters and just hit your opponent? And since you have two cards that are needed in this case, you can get 2 direct attacks. Next we have a quick summon IDS Skill Seal, which is a spell card which effect states you can special summon an alter ego card from your hand to either player's side of the field field, that monster is not allowed to use its effect while it's on the field. This came from the Seraph manga, where that version of Kazura was summoned by BB, but her skills were sealed because it's more cost efficient that way. The next is an equip spell that I call the True BB. Essentially what this card does is you can only equip it to a Kazura drop. You can take a BB from your hand or on the field and equip it to Kazura, and Kazura gains all of their attack points, as well as their effects they can use once per turn. When Kazura is sent to the graveyard, this card goes too, and those BBs are returned to their original position before being equipped. And in the case that the BB is an Exceeds monster, then you just use those Ole units to use the effect. I took this from Foxtails, where because Kazura stole a lot of BB's power, BB is less BB than the one Kazura made. And lastly, we have Solo Stage, which is a spell card which can be activated immediately sending you into your battle phase. During the battle phase, only a Motrilis can attack, equal to the amount of monsters not named Motrilis on the field. These monsters themselves cannot attack for the rest of the battle phase. It wasn't obvious the idea for this was Melt's a dancer, Bush has its solo, so I decided to give it some extra effects to make it more useful. And hey, if you use Lambda, then this ties in well with her effect. Now to go along with our sudden addition of Archetype Moon Golden BB, we have the fusion spell Archetype Fusion, which allows you to fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters with BB in their name from your hand or field as fusion material, and that fusion monster cannot be destroyed until your next turn of this card being used, which very simply is just a way to give BB some protection from cards that might try to destroy her as soon as she gets out. But anyway, tell me what you think of these cards that I put together, and comment below what you might do for some of these. And when you're done, check out my video on BB Cosmos and BB Dubai if you're interested in learning about more Sakura faces.